Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angryprepper. So today's video is going to be, is there going to be violence at voting polls? Now, the only reason why I'm doing this video, obviously, is because I've seen a couple of articles pop up about such a situation that might be happening, guys, might be happening at voting polls in different spots in America. Now, do I think violence is going to ensue here in New York City? No. But the possibility of it happening in other cities is there, right? So I've been hearing this chatter, if you will, for a while now on different YouTube channels and emails and news articles now, right? So even mainstream news is starting to report this. You had Washington Post, I think the New York Times, and then a couple of smaller news media sources were talking about the possibility of this. Some of them were saying that it will happen. I don't think it will happen. I think there's a possibility of it happening, right? So now, guys, this is 2020. The possibility of anything happening is on the table. All of it, with the exception of zombies and alien attack, though I probably shouldn't have said that because why not, right, this year? So, like I said, there is warnings going around that there might be violence happening at voting polls around the United States. So, for that being said, you need to keep your head on a swivel in case there might be some violence happening. There might be oppositions showing up at these polls. There might be people armed hanging out and around voting polls, which they shouldn't be doing. I think people should vote and go the fuck home, but if people are going to act a fool and try to incite some shit, this is just a heads up. So, Southern Poverty Law Center has warned that there might be violence happening at the voting polls, though there is no immediate proof. There's no real evidence, right? So there's nothing online and there's nothing being said elsewhere that, not being said, but there's no actual movement being seen where violence might be happening. But they've been getting these threats across America. So they're just giving a heads up. Yes, Southern Poverty Center law is pretty liberal. They're pretty liberal. They're absolutely liberal. But nonetheless, they're a little worried. Now, the problem with them giving the heads up is that they're blaming right-wing extremists. So they said right-wing extremists and other fringe groups. Now, the other fringe groups are obviously the left. The left, guys, we've seen more attacks from the left than any other videos. I've seen very few, and I have seen some, but very few right-wing people attacking the left. I'm more worried about the left than the right wings. But though right-wing extremists, who knows, right? With everything going on these days, with people polarizing these attacks, with people, the left, polarizing the left's attack. People are saying that protesting and rioting and the destruction of property is for the voices of the unheard to be heard, right? So that's bad, because that right there is now telling the right, well, we can do what we want to do if the left is going to do what they want to do. This is why violence at the poll is possible, because politicians are making it such. Politicians are using language that is making it okay to protest or riot, right? And just making that fine. And so you don't think the right is going to be like, fuck that, if they're doing that, we can do this? And don't you think other left parties are going, well, if they could do it, so can we? That just makes matters worse. So in Portland, Oregon, there is a group of, I guess, right-wing extremists planning to stage themselves at voting polls, I guess, throughout Oregon, armed. That being said, the left extremist groups are now saying, well, maybe we should go as well, armed. This is only going to lead to one or two things, guys. A shootout, or just guys staring at each other, waiting for the first person to move. Fucking person so much as itches the wrong way, they're probably going to let off shots. So now you got two opposing groups possibly meeting at voting polls to do what? Say hi to one another? No, right? So if you do see this, guys, you're going to have to keep your head on the swivel, because I'm not saying don't go and vote. You have to go and vote, especially this election. But you need to keep your head on the swivel. You need to make sure that if you're watching these two groups staring at each other, that they're not, one, blocking your way into voting, two, they're not aggravating each other, because once they start aggravating each other, now you're in the middle of some shit you probably don't want to be a part of. Now, earlier when I mentioned rioting is the language of the unheard, right? If it's the language of the unheard, and you have politicians like Olivia Smith, who is she's a member of the Democratic Socialist Party, which I really didn't ever think was going to be a thing, but it is. She made that statement. This is the exact statement she made. People are opening up to the idea that a riot is the language of the unheard. Property destruction is not violence. Property destruction is not violence. So, by her stupid statement, by people making that stupid statement, because she's not the only one I heard make that statement, that means today, if I took your phone and smashed it against the ground, well, guess what? That's not violence, and you shouldn't react to that violence or that property destruction. You should just walk away. So if my store's being burned to the ground, or they're trying to burn my store to the ground, I should just let people do it. This is the language that the Democrats are using, and Democrats, socialists are using. They're saying that, well, because they're burning stuff down doesn't mean it's violence. It absolutely is. Violence is the destruction of property and people. So, I mean, you break something, there's violence in it, right? You break somebody's home apart, you're being violent. Why? Because it's not bodily harm. And so I have a store that I've worked my fucking ass off to build, and some asshole who is protesting another asshole's protest is coming to my neighborhood to burn my shit down. I'm supposed to let that go by and just go, okay, you have a good point. No. So you're absolutely going to be met with violence. If you try to break my store down, you try to burn my store down, you try to do anything other than my store than shop there, it's going to be met with violence. And that's me. And I'm not a store owner, guys. So I know some of these store owners out there are like, fuck that. And there are some store owners that are like, well, I have insurance. Insurance is only going to cover that so many times. So keep that in mind, guys. If some of you liberals are actually watching and you're like, well, I'll let them destroy my store because they're trying to be heard. Okay. Insurance is only going to cover that a couple times, guys. They're not going to cover it every time your store burns to the ground. They're not. And if they do, your premium's going to go up. Way the fuck up. So rethink that stupid ideology that destruction of property is not violence. So why are people so nervous in this election? Well, you have an increase in gun sales. Some people are looking at the increase in gun sales as people are arming themselves to A, defend themselves, or B, go on the offense and attack. So that's two ways of looking at it, which is, I hate to say it, a decent way of looking at it, or a right way of looking at it. People are getting guns for a reason. Not everyone's buying a gun, guys, to defend themselves. Some people, believe it or not, are buying guns to go on the attack. The other reason why people are nervous is the language of politicians making it so. They're making it so that you can attack the opposition, whoever it is, a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter. What I'm saying is that Americans are looking at violence as an acceptable tool to get their message across. So, YouGov.org did a poll from their, I guess, subscribers. 56% of their subscribers think violence is going to happen as a result of this election. That's big numbers, guys. That's huge numbers, right? Not huge numbers, but because, I mean, to be fair, they can only have like 300 subscribers. But that's big, because if those people think that, that means more Americans think that way. More Americans think that violence is going to happen. That's probably why there's an increase in gun sales for those who are buying guns to defend themselves. Again, I said there are people buying guns to go on the offense, to go on the attack. So you got to keep that in mind. When gun sales have gone up and 18 million weapons have been sold here in the United States, firearms, sorry, in the United States. That's a lot. That's a lot more than last year. I think last year was something like 7 or 8 million weapons were sold, and they got 18 million. And that's, my son just bought a firearm. He lives down in North Carolina, and he bought one. He bought one for the same reason. He doesn't like the way shit is going. Now, people keep talking about white supremacy. I'm gonna tell you something about white supremacy, guys. The only white supremacy I'm seeing are white people telling me that I'm not black enough and that I need to vote for Biden. Because if I vote for Trump, I'm stupid. I'm not black. I'm a coon. I'm a step and fetch it. Uncle Tom. Right? That's the only white supremacy I see, because I see white people telling me that shit. Right? And white people calling me these things. And white people telling, us black conservatives, we're not black enough. coming from somebody white, which is insane. I'd never thought in a million years I'd be faced with white people telling me I'm not black enough. That's some strange shit, guys. We are in strange times, that's for goddamn sure, because I've never seen anything like it. The gist of this video is don't let all the rumors get to your head, but keep them in the back of your head and keep your head on the swivel when you go and vote. That's it, guys. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, go to the polls with a bandolier of ammo and fucking 2 guns in your hip and a shotgun in your back. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is go and vote anyway. Do what you got to do. But make sure you keep your head on the swivel and make sure you keep that in the back of your head. Most Americans are going to go vote and they're not going to be met with any confrontation. Most. Some Americans might see some confrontation and a few Americans might see actual violence. But like I said, guys, the big word here is might. Maybe. It could happen. Not saying it will. All right, guys? So, this is the Angryprepper. Thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. Also, guys, pinball preparedness did put a video out, a Halloween video actually. It was pretty good. It's pretty cool. You should head over to his channel and watch his video. I think it's Halloween for preppers or fun, something like that. I'm going to put the link to that video in the description section below. All right, guys, thank you for watching.